Hello there and welcome to Travels with Geordie. If this is your first visit, my name is Peter Knowles and I live on a classic wooden motor cruiser, not unlike this one here, in Victoria, British Columbia, along with my girlfriend Andrea and the loving memory of my pup Jordy, all while fixing it and others up for some pretty ambitious cruising. If that's the sort of thing you might find interesting, please consider sticking around and subscribing. I'd love to have you. Well, the road to hell is paved with good intentions. Perhaps a brief explanation of why we've been absent for the last little while. Nothing severe, nothing to worry about. Just a bit of a summer funk, I suppose. Summer is hard on YouTubers. It's, views are always way down. Revenue is way down. Patrons tend to leave in droves. And it's just sometimes puts you into a bit of a funk that is kind of hard to break out of, especially when you're not doing the kind of content you'd really like to be able to. I've never considered that I was all that good at cruising videos, and well, we're going to prove that, right?
I think you're good.
And so when you're cruising in the summer, you're basically always sort of hunting for footage, and that's not very creatively stimulating. So I decided to basically, after the little short video that you did see, take a break for a little while through the festival season and just enjoy the festivals as they were without worrying too much about running around with a camera all the time trying to get good footage. Now, to be fair, I did actually, as you just saw, take a few clips in Port Townsend, it being such a beautiful place and such a fabulous festival, but wasn't able to find a way put it into a show. So anyway, what we're going to do today is a bit of an update and a bit of an FAQ as to what we've been up to and where we're going. Let's go for a walk. Now, we do owe you a bit of an explanation and an update on the boat shed. It's complicated, it's not sold, but it's not usable. So Poem is in the shed right now and will be until for the next couple of weeks while we get this annual maintenance done. And then basically the shed will be in a kind of state of hiatus that we own it, but can't do anything with it. And I must clarify, when I say we, I mean Lady Zephyrus owns the shed. I merely rent it from her. So moving forward over this winter, Andrea and I will be aboard Poem in the Inner Harbour in Victoria again. Very comfortable, well, reasonably comfortable.
Right.
We're working on improving the comfort. We'll get into that in a little bit. And Jordy will be also in Victoria Harbour, just about 15 minutes walk around the end of the harbour at Fisherman's Wharf. The nice thing about Fisherman's Wharf is it's a year-round moorage, and I can do a little more work there. Now, I won't say can do big work, but can certainly do, drills and jigsaws and stuff like that. Yeah. So Jordy will become more back to the way I used to work. Those of you who've been watching a while when Jordy was basically a shop. The upside of it is I don't have to put plastic over my bed every day and take it off at night to be able to keep the dust out of my sleeping accommodations. So I'll be doing cabinet work and other sorts of work for both Poem and Jordy, aboard Jordy as a shop, and I think that's going to work really, really well. Lots to do, of course. And the nice thing about that is it's a 15-minute walking commute rather than an hour-and-a-half drive over a mountain. Yeah, exactly. That won't be able to address the big projects for Jordy, which we'll get into in a clip or two from now. Okay, so Jordy. Well, if you've been following along a little while, you know that I've kind of left Jordy in a bit of limbo. Certainly the cabin side project, which was to be done this last year, didn't happen, and that's gonna have to happen before Jordy is great. But more importantly, at least for now, is the cabin top issue, which I never got fiberglass on the cabin tops where I did all the work up there, the swoops, etc., and peeled off all the old fiberglass. And well, it's leaking. And I've done my best to get started, and over the next couple of weeks I'm going to find a way to completely seal Geordie, because freshwater leaks are both unpleasant and very bad for the boat. And well,
Bad for me.
Bad for you, exactly. However, at least we're not living on it, but at the same time, I don't want freshwater leaking in. So the long-term plan for getting the fiberglass onto the cabin top, I don't have yet, but I'm going to work something out in the next little while. Otherwise, Geordie's in splendid shape. The bottom is good. Of course, the engine and systems are wonderful. It's just the cabin top and the cabin sides.
Yeah.
Oh, and some interior stuff. And then, of course, there's Poem. And frankly, Poem has been great. Living aboard Poem in the period while we've been doing this work on Geordie has been a blessing. It means we can live in a tidy, cozy downtown location right at the Causeway in Victoria. Last winter was fantastic, and again this winter will be great. But what does Poem need? What does Poem need?
Drawers.
Drawers. And maybe the biggest problem with Poem is what we call the bump.
Oh, the bump. Yes. Haunts my dream.
Constantly stepping over the big old gas engine cover is getting a little old.
Yeah.
Including a few trips and falls. But anyway, that's in the not so close future, but it's definitely something we'll look at some point. Anyway, so over this winter, using the shop on Geordie, we'll add to the cabinetry drawers, more storage, more counter space, and we'll go into detail about all that stuff in the next little while, but that will make life aboard that much more comfortable.
Totally.
Excellent. So then moving forward for the channel, we love doing the channel.
Yes.
We just love the interaction with all of you, the work we do. I actually really enjoy the editing. It's a really good process, but maybe it's time for a bit of a change. As I mentioned, views are way down. Subscriptions are just barely keeping up with those who are leaving, and financial support is leaving in a hurry. Thankfully, Andreas Monticelli is topping that up nicely, so we're in fine shape. But to make the show viable, we're going to have to make some small changes. The same small changes that almost every similar YouTube show I've always made. Maybe ramp up the merchandising a bit. To be fair, I give away 20 shirts for every one I sell. So in terms of a business model, that hasn't been all that successful, although it's a heck of a lot of fun. And then the dreaded sponsorships. If you've been following along, you know that I recently accepted a fancy laser engraver to do some stuff. And of course, there's no extra financial gain with that, but maybe it's opening the door to paid sponsorships, which would actually help support the show. It seems to be the standard amongst many shows like ours. Now, I can tell you, I don't really like it.
No.
It's been difficult to imagine how to merge consumer products in with the show. I've always been hesitant to do it, but we're going to experiment with it a bit, and of course we'll be very eager for any feedback you have on that front. In terms of marketing, Andrea here has just enrolled in a
Digital marketing course.
digital marketing program.
Certificate. Yeah.
Certificate. So, which is exciting.
Yes.
You liking it?
Yeah. I'm excited to have the opportunity to maybe get the show out to a wider audience than we've been reaching, because I think that's primarily the issue.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, of course, it'll be a new career for you, but
Yeah.
maybe Travels with Geordie will benefit by it in the short term. So picking up on merchandising, of course, that is just stuff, interesting stuff that all of you might be interested in. And well, of course, there's always been t-shirts and hoodies, and I think there's a cup that sells once a year. We've never done caps. We've never done all kinds of other products that make a lot of sense. The caps through the company I work with can be embroidered. In fact, everything can be embroidered. So we're really going to open that up a little bit. And the really bright star in this whole story is that Dave, thank you, Dave, the graphic designer that has been so helpful and done all the most recent graphics for Travels with Geordie, is on board to help with some new graphics, and I think that's going to be fun. So there'll be a whole new slew of products in that regard. Now as well, the laser engraver opened the opportunity for some other products, some custom products. I'm going to do perhaps coasters, a mahogany or yellow cedar or something like that. And they could be customized with, say, a Patreon or a Beer of the Week winner's name. Fun stuff. And then sponsorships. Well, YouTubers generally get about 10 emails a day suggesting that, oh, we should promote some product or another. And I've always just deleted those messages out of hand. The laser engraver was the first one that really caught my eye because, well, I really thought it would be very useful for the show. And it's been fun. Yeah. And Diane and I put it together. It was a pretty IKEA experience, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was easier than I thought, actually.
It's funny you say that because I thought it was harder than I thought.
Oh, really?
Anyway, so it's basically going to become part of the tool collection that Travels with Geordie enjoys.
Well, we were thinking, seeing as we bring you up to date on a few things that's going on in our life, we thought maybe we'd answer a few frequently asked questions, or at least occasionally asked questions. So we thought we'd come out into the bay and scoot around and answer those questions. I'm trying to drive at the same time and not run into the flagship here.
I know, you did really good.
Did relatively well. Okay, I'll slow down so it's a little quieter. Could you read the questions?
Yes. So people are interested to know why you always stand in the dinghy rather than sit.
It's funny that question comes up so often. The reason I stand is it's actually much easier. I'm now reaching past you to the great big tiller that's way up in the air on the little electric trolling motor. And by the time you sit and balance, I just step into the boat, stand up, the tiller is right there. It's very easy to balance. I mean, people ride paddle boards all the time without falling in, right?
That's true.
And it's also super handy if there's someone else in the boat. When you're sitting here, it's much easier to see ahead of you. And certainly sitting in that thwart, the tiller just bangs me in the head. Anyway, I'm always going to, and I also don't wear a life jacket very often. And that's just going to be the way it is.
So what breed is Finnegan?
Well, what breed is Finnegan?
He's an Icelandic shepherd. So he's, I don't know what to say about it.
He's from Iceland.
Yeah,
no,
from
he's not.
Iceland.
But you know what's interesting about him? He's actually from Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
But his mother was from Iceland, and his mother was featured on an Icelandic stamp.
Yes.
I may be able to show you one here. So obviously, quite good lineage. Icelandic sheepdogs are sort of gaining popularity. There's no doubt it's the most affectionate dog I've ever met.
Yeah, he's a sweetie patootie.
He can be a little bit,
Was it
high energy.
any herding breed
Right.
or any like alert dogs tend to be very reactive, and
Yeah.
that's Finnegan's downfall.
He's
So
still a pup. What breed is Frida?
Frida is a poodle, not otherwise specified. She's a pound special.
Right.
She's longer in the body and short little legs, so I really have no idea.
And vicious.
And a little bit vicious.
Although we're getting along a lot better these days.
Yeah.
What's next?
People are interested in the fishing magnet. What happened?
I
to that
never got
footage?
around to filming. One very kind individual out there, thank you very much, gifted me a large magnet you can tie a rope to so I could recover all the junk that I drop in the ocean. Not a lot, but some things. And I did film recovering some stuff, but somehow I lost the footage, and then I thought, okay, I'm going to throw the stuff back in and recover it again or fake it somehow, and I never got around to that. So, bottom line, yes, I have very successfully recovered 3 of the 4 clamps I lost. I recovered the tiny little screwdriver bit that I lost, which really impressed me. I recovered a tape measure, which didn't survive. No, tape measures and salt water don't do very well.
And finally, how did we meet?
How did we meet?
You tell. I don't want to tell.
Well, we met by swiping because it's 2024.
Yeah.
But then again, we quite quickly got to meet each other. Andrea lived in New Westminster at the time, and so I drove over and we got to meet. And I think, well, could we call it love at first sight?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we hit it off, didn't we?
We got along.
We got
really
along
well right
really
away.
well.
Yes.
Yeah. Excellent. And so then, because of the distance involved, it was like every 2 weeks. I would drive over, or you would come over, and basically then early this spring, late this winter, decided to pull up stakes in New Westminster, and we went over and emptied out your apartment and moved on to Poem. There's a pretty big transition.
Yeah, it was big.
Yeah. Big.
But it's good.
Yeah, it's
I'm
good.
happy.
So not missing any of your stuff.
Oh no, I still have it in storage somewhere.
We have a few things stored here and there.
Yeah.
Anyway, and so yeah, the rest is history. And you're enjoying living aboard?
Yeah. No, I really like it.
Oh,
It was an
glad.
adjustment for sure.
It
but
certainly
I
was.
really like it.
Yeah, but downtown Victoria is pretty nice.
Oh, come on.
I know. If you're going to live aboard, it's a pretty
You're
easy
laughing.
place to do it.
You're laughing.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, getting back to the city is going to stabilize our life quite a bit. And as I said, living downtown Victoria really doesn't hurt. Let that be a segue into the beer of the week, shall we not?
Yeah.
Okay, now this was a gift from Leroy and Michelle in Port Townsend at the Port Townsend Wooden Boat Festival. Can you read on there? Because I'm going to turn you out of the sun a bit so maybe you can see what that says.
It says Sea Pine Brewing. And it's a, can we have a pool, Dad? And it's a lemon lager. It's 4% and it's made in Seattle, Washington.
Excellent. And it was specifically for Andrea because I think Leroy and Michelle could sense that Andrea is not an IPA drinker. Certainly not an IPA and hazy drinker.
So thank you.
Thank you.
Very thoughtful.
All right. I'm looking forward to this.
Me too.
It's been hard to hang on to all these beers. To be fair, Leroy and Michelle, we haven't hung on to all of them. Excellent. Well, cheers to you. Lemony.
Oh, is that good?
That's pretty good, eh?
I like that.
I like
I
that.
like that a lot. It's like, it makes me think of like a Corona or something.
Yeah.
But more lemon.
Right,
More
rather
lemon.
than lime.
Oh, that's really
exactly.
nice.
No, it's very, very nice. Okay. Last week's. I realize it's been a while. Please forgive me. Last time's winner was.
Andy Pandy 955.
Well, congratulations, Andy Pandy 955. You won yourself a Travels with Geordie T-shirt. Send us off an email at swag@travelswithgeordie.com and we'll make sure you get it. Cheers. Like to thank. I know, you're wondering if I'm setting you up for this. 2 new patrons in the last little while, which is wonderful. Do you want to have a stab at that?
Yes. I'm going to say Einar Birkir Einarson.
Thank you very, very
Thank
much
you.
for coming aboard as a patron. Cheers.
Apologies if that was mispronounced.
As well as...
Michelle Copy.
That works for me.
Okay.
Excellent. Thank you ever so much,
Cheers.
Michelle, as well.
Thank
And
you.
cheers to you both. Thank you for coming aboard. You know, that is good. We got to look into that when we
tastes
get
like
back.
more.
I know, it tastes like... We have another one.
Yeah, we did.
Excellent. Okay, so all we need now for the good folks at home is a word of the week.
Well, we went a little basic on this one, but we just decided on fall.
As in
because it
autumn.
is fall.
And I'm sure there's lots of good stuff you can do with that.
Yeah.
Well, we're very glad to be back. I hope you are too. Cheers, and see you sooner than next week. One really lovely thing about the festival is every once in a while you'll stumble upon a boat that you might not have known about otherwise. Some real gems here.